because it's the halves that halve you in half. Don't know about the in-between bits. The gory bits of you and gory bits of me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Underrated Podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss films that are underrated, underappreciated, or ones that have just flown under the radar and passed most people by. I'm Derek McDuff, and with me is Alan Torres.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
And Ariel Ortiz.
Hello!
Today, we are going to be talking about Like Crazy, a 2011 film directed by Drake Dormius. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's a romantic drama starring Felicity Jones and the late great Anton Yelchin, with Jennifer Lawrence in a supporting role. It was made for only about $250,000, and was actually premiered at Sundance, where it won the grand jury prize that year. But it didn't get a wide release, and it kind of has stayed under the radar since it came out. Not a lot of people have seen it, so that's kind of why I picked it for this week. Guys, this is, like I just said, my pick. Had you guys seen this one before?
Not at all.
Yeah,
no,
did you guys...
never... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, do you guys want to start us off on... Ariel, you are smiling like the Joker right now.
Hit it up, Ariel. I know you're ready to
go. Give me a sec.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't. This movie got me so frustrated. That's why I'm laughing. I just can't with this movie. Like, it came to the point where I had to talk about this before the podcast, so I was texting Alan because I started.
But I told her, I was like, wait a minute, let's not talk too much.
Yeah, so I was trying. That's why, because like this is very much it's going to be a release of this. It was a very beautiful movie, like artistically. I appreciated that. But it started off. I mean, it is like, yeah, in its heart, it is a very real story, but it's just the epitome of a very, I don't know if I would say toxic relationship, but a very codependent relationship. But I think,
oh yeah.
So do you know how long the whole like span of the movie is supposed to be?
I think it's about 6 years.
Really?
Okay. Because of how quickly the pacing is. Like,
yeah,
it moves so fast, and then like I was when I got hit the halfway mark, I had paused it and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm already halfway done, and then this movie's like it is kind of
clip.
Yeah, and but basically, for me, it paints this very toxic relationship that, or at least in my opinion, a very toxic relationship of this couple that, you know, she's from Britain and he's American. They meet at a school in LA. Her visa's ending, and she's supposed to go, but instead she decides to stay. And in a way, and then it causes her to not be able to return back to the country when she tries to come back. And all this different things happen, and then it leads to basically them not being a couple, judging each other for like being with other people when they are not together, and then like when they're with other people, they just basically throw them like trash away. And
poor J-Law.
Oh man,
I know J-Law. J-Law is
fuck Simon, but poor J-Law.
Simon's okay, but J-Law is a fucking saint because she took him back too. Because and it's just like he did this to her twice, and she's a lot better for him than her, because she at the drop of a hat, like, oh, I want you right now. like in a way, like, you know, like I can't be without you, like and all this, and he drops everything literally, like he gets married to her, and then it's just to no avail, like they jump head over heels in the worst kind of way, and it's just a very very bad relationship in my opinion, and then at the end, like they've been, I don't know if it's a sense of they've been fighting for so long to get to be actually together in LA, where it's kind of like, okay, well now we've gotten what we wanted, now that kind of is disinterest in a way, or
I have a lot of thoughts on it,
something.
and I'll go into it more in depth. But yeah,
But yeah, it just got me so frustrated, and I know part of it is his fault, but she kind of started it because she's just very, I don't know if it's a carefree or just not thinking about the consequences. And she kind of like drags him into that. And yeah, it's just such a frustrating movie in my opinion.
I think for me, I think it's a very heavy movie. I think that's what it was for me. It was, I wasn't frustrated. I was just more like, oh man, like it was like, because I've been in like, you know, a toxic kind of like relationship. So I was just like, oh man, like this is heavy. Like it's definitely, it's kind of like when you go watch a comedy and like you're laughing and you kind of walk out on that like, all right, I feel good. Or you watch a horror movie and you're like scared and you're kind of looking everywhere. This felt like when I finished it, I was just like, oh man. Like I like immediately like I had to go pick up my girl and I was like, hey, look, I love you, okay? Like it's okay. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, I saw this movie right before I picked you up, like literally seconds before she called me.
Thank you for not being Felicity Jones. Thank you for not being Felicity Jones.
Well, even then, like it's just like I think I don't, because I had a lot of thoughts. I was like, did I like this movie? Did I hate this movie? I feel like I'm in the middle just because of how real it is and how like just like just that toxicity. You're like, oh my god, dude! Like I know this. I know people like this. I've been involved in shit like this. So like, I don't blame Felicity Jones specifically. I blame both of them because it takes two.
Yeah.
It definitely takes two to tango, and like there's times where you're like, you know, Anton, you're like kind of like, all right, bro, you know, you got J Law, maybe you should think a little bit more, but like he just immediately goes, nah, fuck that, I'm gonna drop everything and go to London, and like he breaks up with her, and I was like, all right, you know what, dude, fuck you. I was like, you're part of the problem too now, and like that's where it felt even more real because you kind of, you know what, when you're in a relationship, both of you just make these decisions. It's kind of like how people kind of go like, hey, you know, let's have a kid, or let's do this, or let's make a big commitment kind of thing, where you're kind of like, you should really think about it, like don't jump the gun, and then they jump the gun. But
wait, I forgot about one thing.
Go ahead.
I didn't realize until the end that they were still married
Mm-hmm.
throughout that whole time where they were dating other people. And I was just, it was like the final nail in the coffin for me. Like,
But you know what though? That's kind of like the beauty of the film is that like it's so real that like I've known people that have done that like they got married too early or they got married too young and then they separate and they're kind of just going like, you know, oh, I want to date other people and I want to do this and that, and then they get back together and just how
but
like
I think they were always going to get back together. Like they had the plan, like, oh yeah, well once everything clears up with your visa and you come back, yeah, we'll be back together. And I
don't know. Okay. I'll
but Alan, keep on going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, just my only thing I was kind of like, I mean, I can't say it was bad because I was gonna say they should have just let her go to England, you know, had a long distance relationship, but at the same time, again, it's hard. It's like, you know, she took the risk of not going back because her visa expired. But there's plenty of people that would do that too. That would totally be like, I'm so in love, like I want to be with this person. I don't want to drop it. I mean, also too, if you say, hey, she should have just went back to London, it kind of takes away the whole MacGuffin of the film, you know. and then makes it everything happy. I think that's what it is that you're watching it and you're just like, you want things to pan out and you're just like, oh my God, why are you doing this? Why is this happening? And you're like, I don't know, like, I think maybe that's the good part about the film. Like, it's so real. And it just it just because I'm not gonna lie, the first 20 minutes are very cutesy and lovey, and they're making out and cuddling, and I was like, oh my God, this is like relationship porn, or like it's so cute. Ugh. And then when it started getting to the real part, I was like, oh my God, all right, holy shit.
I think that's another thing that doesn't allow us to really connect and feel for these characters is that we don't, like you said, I knew watching it, like at the end, okay, this has to be like years past, but we don't get to see any of, besides that, those first 20 minutes, we don't get to see an actually like worthwhile relationship throughout.
Just
I think that's kind of the point,
and
though,
I think that's the point. Oh yeah, I know, I understand that that's the point, but that's the reason why you at least for me, like I didn't feel a connection to them that I would like make like I don't want to say an excuse, but have an understanding of why they're doing this. You know?
Yeah. I definitely. Go on, Alan.
Oh no, I was gonna ask you, like, what do you mean, like, why are they doing, like,
why they are basically ruining lives? You know, like,
it's just
because there's been other.
It's just that.
No, there's been other.
Feeling,
there's been other characters. Yeah, I mean, there's been other characters in other like medias, movies, TV shows that have ruined lives. Like, but you gain a sense of how they are together that allows you to like be okay with like, yeah, they like broke the heart of this other person, but they in the end they did end up with, you know, the love of their life. So yeah.
I think for me at the end of the movie they weren't happy with each other. I feel like their relationship was like stained and still fucked up, but I think at the end of the day why they do those things is because honestly, at the end of the day, people do shit like that. Like it's love. Like they're just they'll take it too far because they love someone that much, and the thing is, it's frustrating because you see it in real life. Like you see it in real life. You see other people. I've known people, you know, growing up, where like I knew people that were in a toxic relationship, and I'm like, why do you keep doing this? Like why? And then they just kind of go, I don't know. Like it's a bad idea, right? Like I shouldn't be doing this, but they just keep doing it because they're so infatuated with that person, or they love them that much, kind of thing. And you're just like, nah, man, you got to get out of this, you know. But it just sucks that there's just some people like. I think that's why it was so heavy for me, because I'm like, I know people who do this, and you know, I know how it is, but yeah.
I think it hit too close to home on that point. Then
yeah,
it
really
definitely hit really fucking close to home for me on a lot of this movie, and that's why, like, I don't disagree with anything that you guys are saying, other than like I think I might not use the word toxic. Because I don't think they're like
I don't want to use the word toxic either. I want to use the word of they're too dependent on each other.
Yeah, codependent is better.
I think codependency, yeah. That I mean, yeah. I feel like codependency is a lot better of a definition.
And I still think they're a little toxic. I mean, she did cheat on him. I'm assuming.
Well, that's the thing is like you.
Was like,
I don't think she cheated on him.
I totally think she did. I totally
with
think
Simon.
She cheated him. Yeah, with Simon.
No,
because she got with him
like she might have been with Simon when they were broken up, but I don't think she.
Yeah.
But that's.
Because like when he visits her. Oh, sorry. When he like visits her, and like he's sitting on her chair and he's like reading her poems, and she comes to the door, and then later on in the movie he's like, oh, you're fucking Simon. I think that before that, because she later on brings it up like, oh, are you cool with having an open relationship? And I was like, oh, she cheated. I don't know why.
They were apart when I think they definitely hooked up, but it was that period when he was with Jennifer Lawrence. The first time. Yeah. But yeah, like everything you guys are saying is like spot on. Like it is so fucking real. And I think that a lot of times movies like this tend to kind of really like it is a romantic movie, but like kind of like make it like a fairy tale, you know, like that kind of like you know, The Notebook, for example, is a movie that like does the same kind of thing. You know, where it's like, okay, there's these two people and they spend the beginning of the movie having this kind of like idyllic romance, and then, you know, fate tears them apart, and, you know, they end up with other people. And in The Notebook, it's like, oh, you know, James Marsden is just kind of a prop. You don't think of him as a regular person. Like James Marsden is playing James Marsden in every fucking movie, where he's just the guy who's he's the Baxter, the guy who's there to like just be the romantic foil, or like Carrie Elwes in Liar Liar. And a lot of times, like, movies will just like either like to make that person an asshole so you don't feel bad for them, or like they'll just kind of like not be really a fully formed character, and you're like, okay, like James Marsden, like whatever, he's handsome, whatever, but like, you know that he's supposed to end up with Ryan Gosling at the end of the movie. You know, that's not a spoiler to say that fucking The Notebook, she ends like up with Ryan Gosling. Whereas this movie, it really like
Notebook's been out for forever. It's spoiled as well. Who fucking cares?
Yeah. But like this movie, it does it in a like a non-fairy tale realistic way, and that's why I think that it hits so much harder than something like The Notebook. You're like, okay, whatever, it sucks with James Marsden, but who cares? This movie, you're like Jennifer Lawrence also gives such a good performance, where she's like fucking bawling and stuff, and he's just like breaking her heart. Like that's how shit is in real life. Like this is it's so true to life, and like me being like as much of a hopeless romantic as I am, like I have definitely like been there where I've just been like there's a person you just fucking can't let go of, you know, and you want to, and you're just like, you know, that whole speech she gives him where she's just like, there's nobody who makes me feel like this, and blah blah blah, and you're like, and oh my god, it hit me. Like I relate a lot more to her in this movie than I relate to Anton Yelchin, I feel like because she does like, and she, you know, she tries to move on, she dates Simon, like, you know, but she just she's definitely, I think, a little more invested in him, because like he tries for like a second to move to London, but he's like, I can't. I've got my chair business, like his shitty chair business set up in LA. He's like, I can't move to fucking
his
London.
chairs are beautiful. I liked his.
Wait up, okay. The chair he gives her. Be honest, like, was it like? Okay, my dad works in like fiberglass, like fabrications and stuff, and he like builds some crazy shit all the time. And like he builds like the chairs at like McDonald's, or he builds like the bodies of boats. But like he'll build like other shit like too, and like chairs. And I'm not gonna lie, when he like gave her that chair, I was like, that's it? That's really that's all you can. I don't know. I was like, you couldn't paint it a little? Like it just looked like he sanded it down, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I gotta give it to her like in an hour." But that was just me. I was like,
"No,
it's my style. I like it. I wouldn't pay a lot."
The gesture,
if he's like charging like $300 for the chair, then no. But if it's like a $50-$60 chair, I mean, it's better than an IKEA chair, and it is very artistic. Like I mean, I it's my style. I wouldn't be mind it.
It just looks so bare bones to me. I was like, hey, bro, like, did you finish this at wood shop or what happened?
But on that, is that a real thing? A furniture architect is that a real thing?
I mean, there's got to be, right?
Yeah,
I guess.
IKEA, you know.
Yeah. But but then like the chair becomes like I don't think the chair is particularly like great or interesting, but like it becomes like such a thing.
It becomes a sentiment.
That and then her bracelet, like when she loses her bracelet and she like freaks out, like, you know, people, like everybody's got like, or not everybody, but like people have like their shoe box up in their closet with all their past relationship shit, you know, or like it might be like around the house or something, and it's just like, oh, like it's like becomes like a symbol of this person, you know. And I think that was like a really interesting aspect to the film, how like those things were just kind of like so important to her. And like when Simon gets her to the new chair, she's like, fuck this, I need to get my chair back. That one, it says like I'm crazy. But I don't know, like I've definitely like it is really, really real. And this is a movie that like I've watched a couple times. Like I watched it after like I went through through a really bad breakup like fucking years ago when I first saw it.
Wrong one to watch after.
No, I think it's a good one to watch after a break. It worked for me.
Don't watch it.
I thought it worked for me really like well after a breakup, much more than like a movie like because it doesn't make you. It's not like fucking Blue Valentine or something. We're just gonna cry yourself to sleep, and it's also not like
I think
just
don't watch any
like The Notebook.
romantic movie after a breakup. Don't watch any romantic movie.
I agree. I
I think
highly fucking agree.
it works. It worked for me because it's just like fuck. Like I get this. I get these feelings that these people are. I'm not a fucking crazy person. Like people feel this shit. You know, this like deep, intense connection, and you're just like, you know, it may I don't know. Like it worked for me, and I think I might have also rewatched it when Anton Yelchin actually died. Like I was watching a bunch of his movies because he, by the way, like everybody in this, like all three, like Anton Yelchin, Felicity Jones, and Jennifer Lawrence, they sell it. Like I believe the fucking romance. Like I fucking believe it. Like, but you know, like all these situations you guys are talking about, like you know, like I like you know how you're talking about like how they were like technically still married and they were like separated, like I've been like in a thing where like there was somebody who like they hadn't like the divorce wasn't final, like, and I was like in a little bit of a fling for a second, you know, so it's just like I don't know, just like shit like that happens, you know, like it's just, and like I wasn't like, you know, Jennifer Lawrence where, you know, I got my heart crushed or anything, but like, you know, like, and like she didn't go back to the guy. Too much about my personal life anyway. Shit like, you know, but like shit like that happens, and like its love is so like fucking messy, and this movie does such a good job of capturing that, where it doesn't feel like this idyllic romanticized thing. It just feels like this is like I think the one movie that I've seen that like really captures what it feels like to be a total hopeless romantic in the real fucking world. Like it's not this beautiful thing with like the birds chirping and like it's like, yeah, you like I don't think that the one is like a necessarily like a thing that exists in the world, like everybody has like they're meant to be. But I do think that like sometimes it definitely fucking feels that way. And this movie does a good job of capturing like, yeah, are these people like meant to be? I don't think so. But do they feel that? Do they like have that feeling in their hearts? Absolutely. And that's what this movie does like such a good job of like doing, is capturing that like kind of deep, intense romantic feeling, and like that you just like can't seem to quit this person. And I don't know, I thought like I read a lot on how it was done, and I thought it was really interesting. A lot of the things, like for example, like when it was just like there was going to be like a intense romantic scene, like the director would have basically the crew leave, so it could just like be the two like actors and him, like it would just be a little more intense. And the film actually was mostly improvised, which is kind of why I feel like the dialogue is so real. Like they basically did kind of like a 50-page outline and found these two actors that had really interesting chemistry and worked really well together, and they would just like shoot for 30 minutes, let them kind of like be like, okay, this is what you guys are going to basically do in the scene, just kind of go. And then they would use the best parts from the 30 minutes and like kind of made the film that way, which is why I feel like it doesn't feel like scripted. Because it wasn't. It was just like, this is how real people fucking talk. And, you know, like that scene where they're like, did you go through my phone? Like, blah, blah, blah. And they're like arguing. Like, that doesn't feel like just like, that feels like people just talking and like, you know, like what, like it's kind of like, oh shit, I've had a fight like that, you know, shit like that. So, very unique movie. And I don't know, anything else you guys wanted to add to that?
Ariel?
Yeah, I do recognize, like watching, I did recognize that it was definitely a well done movie. That, like you saying that it won the award at Sundance is understandable. And yes, I commend it for it being real. But like I said before, it is just a very frustrating movie. I guess you have to be in the right mindset and have an expectation of how it's going to be, and to be okay.
Is it too real?
Yeah, it's too real, and it's just like, for me, I don't enjoy seeing people. I know it's definitely a personal choice, but I don't enjoy seeing people make mistakes that can clearly be avoided, and kind of not seeing what's right in front of them, of seeing this dysfunctionality, which is very ironic for me. But yeah, I guess it's just personally, I guess. But like, I mean, if you don't want to see like people basically like just doing the wrong thing. Like I think that's why I don't really like Uncut Gems, because Adam Sandler's character just does the wrong thing, one thing after the other, and it just gets tiresome. So I guess that's why I enjoyed it for being how artistic it was and very real. But I just didn't enjoy, I guess, yeah, like Alan said, just the heaviness of it. So I mean, it's definitely like if you are okay with that, if you have to be in the right mindset, basically.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm.
For me, like I said, I didn't like hate it or love it. It was just like a film to like watch. Like, you know, you kind of explain. It's just one of those things where like you kind of have to. I think because it's very human. It's very human, very real, very heavy. It's very, very relatable, especially like anybody who's like been, you know, something like that, like codependency, any type of like friendship, relationship, romantic relationship, familiar, whatever. Like that's the heaviness I felt from it. Like it's just real. And yeah, you kind of, it's not one of those movies you just go, oh, okay, let me pop it in and watch. I
Yeah,
think
no.
you kind of have to like, kind of just be like, you know, I want to see something human. I guess that's the simplest way I can say it. It reminded me a lot of this film called, I think it's called Take This Waltz. And the whole plot, it kind of has this similar like why are you doing this? Like why? But it's because of like that's their humanity. And that film is about pretty much this couple. It has Seth Rogen. I can't remember the main lead's name, and then Sarah Silverman was in
Oh.
it. And it's about pretty much the lead. She's like, you know, she has a great relationship with Seth Rogen. Has a great performance in it. You know, he's not like the whatever. He's
No,
like,
yeah, it's very
he's actually
dramatic.
like,
Yeah.
oh, it's very dramatic, and like pretty much she's been married with him for a while, and she's kind of like in this like
Michelle
haze of
Williams.
like, oh, is that her?
Oh, I love Michelle
Yeah.
Williams. Okay, I gotta
Oh
check that
yeah,
out then.
I would recommend that one too if you're in that mood to see this kind of realness where she kind of decides that she's not really like, it's not that she's not happy with him, she's just not happy where she is in her life with the relationship, and she starts meeting this dude on, because she moves in, I think they move into a new neighborhood, and this guy lives like a couple houses down, and he's like super attractive, total like Latin lover looking kind of guy, and they kind of start hitting it off a little bit, and she kind of starts deciding like, okay, do I like she's kind of like, okay, do I want to risk it all, but I have a great marriage, you know, with my husband, and like there's even like those little things like this film where with the chair and the bracelet, it's stuff like that where she's like, with Seth Rogen, she's like, oh well, we used to do this thing in the shower where we would throw cold water over it. I don't want to say too much of the ending of the middle to the rest of the film, but it has that realness of like romance where just like this film where you're like, damn, that's really real, and you're kind of like, why are they doing this? Why do they do this? But it's human. So I would recommend that too. Like if you want like a double heaviness, like you're like, bro, I just need to get packed the fuck on with emotions. Watch this film and Take This Waltz back to back.
Or like I'm already here. I'll just go through this second movie.
Yeah, legit. Yeah,
Yeah.
just go watch both of them so you're just like, oh man, life hits hard, but
Yeah.
definitely though I do think it's underrated. I definitely think you guys should check it out. It's just for like the film alone, just for the humanity of it all. But yeah,
Yeah. And one more thing what I wanted to say, and I kind of forgot about, is like what you guys were talking about. Like you're like, or at least Ariel, you're like, oh, why do they do that at the end? And like you were talking about that kind of last scene and how they're like in the shower together, and they like they have all those flashbacks of like when they were first together, and like, you know, that's like, it's like they're holding on to that like idealized beginning of their relationship they had where everything was perfect before like they had to like be separated by, you know, an ocean, and before they were like fighting, and before there was all this jealousy from like, you know, people they were with in the time. It was that kind of ideal moment, and that's what they want to get back to, and they never can. They never will.
Yeah.
You'll never get back to that kind of like idealized, you know, honeymoon period, but that's what they live in. They live in that like that hope for that ideal, and that's what they're clinging to more so than necessarily, like, you can argue if like, oh, like, and I don't think the film comes down definitively should they be together or not. It kind of just presents it as is, and it's like, okay, this is the people, this is what they've been through, and it's based on, like, the guy who made it actually was in a long distance relationship for like 6 years with somebody from London, so this shit all comes like from his real life, and I think that's part of the reason why it feels so real and intense, and
Yeah, I think it's just it is like I mean, this whole episode is going to be about it being human, but it's also like shows it puts a spotlight on not accepting that you've grown. Also, like, these people have grown even though they've tried to stay the people that they had met that they had been when they first met the other, you know. But in actuality, they've grown and they've been and you just see it, like, you know how this is going to end eventually. Like, they're going to realize, or hopefully you hope for everybody's sake, that they're going to realize that they aren't the same people that they fell in love with, in a way, and that they've been too far away from each other than they have been together. And but you know, I mean, you want to go the optimistic way. I do tend to go a little bit pessimistic. If you want to go the optimistic way, then they figure out how to love each other again, you know, these new people. But I mean, it's definitely
like how I was hoping for, you know. But I do like that it leaves it kind of ambiguous.
I need to be more optimistic, but yeah.
But no, that's the thing about the movie. You can
it's
have
what's an
opinion,
it's an indie.
They're
Yeah,
equally valid.
Yeah, I mean, it's a not I want to say stereotype, but it's a classic indie ending. You know, it leaves you at a crossroads.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think it just ended like they're just chasing that dragon. What is it? Chasing the dragon? They're just
the dragon's tail. Yeah.
I feel like they got like the best high they could have, and then just over the span of 6 years, they've been trying to catch that high again. And I kind of, when it ended the way it did, I was like, for me, I was like, I wanted to be happy, I wanted to be positive, optimistic, but I was like, for me, I'm gonna say they're just still gonna be chasing that high.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. So then, would you guys recommend it? Do you think the film?
I would. I definitely would. It's heavy. It's real, but I would.
I would. Just like I said before, be in the right mindset for it, and just
definitely
go in expecting it. I didn't. I mean, I vaguely remember like the commercials, the trailers for this movie, and kind of still had a hope that things would end up okay. Well, going in, you know, like, I thought it was going to be a bit more uplifting, because the trailer uses some very pastel colors. So it tricked me. But yeah, so I definitely know what you're going into.
Yeah, I would say definitely, be a little prepared for getting some really fucking deep personal emotions that might remind you of maybe some past feelings that you've had in your own life.
It's definitely a movie to learn from.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like, for me, it was really good to, like, watch after, like, I went through a big breakup, because I was like, okay, like, this is, like intense, and, like you said, it's a good movie to learn from, and just, like, be like, okay, like, is this the healthiest thing? You know, like, it's not, like, idealized. It's just presented as it is for living in the real world. So, yeah, obviously, I would definitely recommend it as well. But, yeah.
One quick question. Well, okay. Well, you said you'd probably watch this after a breakup. Ariel, like, what film would you watch after a breakup? Like,
I wouldn't watch a romantic anything. Like, I wouldn't watch it. Like, I haven't. I would just watch maybe like just an action movie or a comedy. Not even a comedy, because, like, I don't know if I would want to laugh. I would probably watch more like TV. Like just something to binge. I would binge a series, just to get something like invest my mind into. But yeah. I don't think I would watch a romantic movie. I would just be like, yeah, that's the stereotypical like eating, tubs of ice cream and watching a romantic movie, and then the girls are always crying. I'm like, I wouldn't want. I'm already going to be crying, like I don't want to cry more. So yeah.
How about you, Alan?
I was thinking about it too. I was like, what would I watch? I think it's like when it's happened to me, I think I watched like DC animated cartoons.
Yeah.
I just want to watch
exactly.
Justice League or something. I was like, I can't watch a film because I was like, what would I watch? But yeah, I think it'd definitely be like cartoons.
You should ask Minnie what if hypothetical if we were ever to break up, what should I watch to get out? No, but yeah.
On that vein, though, Ariel, like before, like I'd say this is like a good after a little bit. You've had a little space after a breakup, but like immediate, like I think like right after a breakup, like I watched fucking John Wick 2 with my brother, and like a little bit of an altered state, and that was the fucking hypest shit ever in my life. I was just like, fuck yeah, this is exactly what I needed right now.
Didn't you watch Pokemon? After your last break, didn't we go and watch Pokemon after your last breakup?
No, that was
Detective Pikachu.
Oh, okay.
No,
Detective Pikachu. That's what I meant.
No.
Oh my god, I won't lie though. That night was fucking fun. We were
lit.
It was fun. No,
yeah.
We had a great fucking time.
So I'm not the drinker of the group, but just seeing you guys and like fucking losing it, you guys pregame, losing it when they played the classic, like when you turn on a Nintendo. No, it was before that. It was when you turn on the Nintendo, like the Game Boy. It made that.
Oh yeah,
and it's like the Gengar and the like Nidoran and
yeah, and you guys fucking lost it, and me and the bro, me and the bro were just busting up laughing of how like yeah.
Dude, yeah, that wasn't after a breakup, but I definitely did fall in love with like the girl who starred in that movie, like whatever her name was. Oh my god.
Yeah, she's in Supernatural. She was in some episodes of Supernatural.
But yeah, I just remember like being like fucking like so drunk, like sitting there watching Pokemon, and I was like at the end of our row of friends, and like on my like it was like a packed theater, and like directly next to me was like a fucking 8-year-old, and I'm just like, I am so drunk in a movie theater right now, watching goddamn like Pikachu with Ryan Reynolds as his fucking voice, and I'm just like, oh my, it was that was a unique experience in my life, no question.
Definitely, you know what? If you need to watch a film, don't watch this after a breakup. Go get shmammered and watch Detective Pikachu. If you grew up with Pokemon, oh man, you're gonna be like, relationship what? Nah, man, I wish I had that Pikachu, or I wish I had that Gyarados and shit.
It's like Ash Ketchum, like it's like that clip from Pokemon where Misty's like, "Don't you know love is the most important thing in the world?" And Ash is just like, "Not more important than catching Pokemon."
Legit, it's like, fuck that bitch. I want to be a Pokemon master.
All right.
Well, anyways, guys, thanks for coming to the Detective Pikachu podcast. Appreciate it. Watch it after a breakup. I don't know how we got
from like crazy to Pikachu, but it worked out.
I think we might have needed that.
We're gonna end very solemnly. I think we needed that because we needed some levity. Mm-hmm. I was already feeling it. Mm-hmm.
Legit, I was like, oh man, because I started thinking about that other film, that Take This Waltz as well. So I was like, oh man, it's a cocktail I didn't want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to have Pichu just a bit lighter than like crazy for sure. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. If you guys have liked what you heard, we'd really appreciate it if you want to subscribe to us or give us a rating, because that really does help. We also have 2 other shows that we do, a couple other podcasts, one called Gateway Episodes and one called You've Never Seen. Actually, on this podcast, starting in the new year, we're going to be doing a mini-series that is we're going to be talking about a very specific kind of underrated film, movies that I like to call big swings. So they're like, those are those like really big budget, like just crazy movies, stuff like Jupiter Ascending or like Pan, they're always, they never make money at the box office. They lose millions and millions of dollars. They usually
look
don't do.
promising, too.
Yeah, they're
And then-
like.
yeah.
They're so visually and interesting, and there's not a lot of shit like you're just like this. There's nothing like this movie. Like, what the fuck is like Jupiter Ascending, But so I've come up with a few of those, and we've all kind of talked about we've each selected one that we're gonna do. So that's gonna be starting in the new year. So starting with January,
And
we're
then
gonna
that'll
each be doing an
yeah.
episode.
And that will hopefully.
So-
we're still talking about the Kings, but that might actually be a whole month long, one each week release. But we're still thinking about the Kings.
Yeah. So just keep on this channel, and we'll be doing that soon. But until then, I will see you guys in another life.
Oh, real quick, sorry.
Yeah.
Just a quick little shameless plug. Lately, I've been streaming on Twitch. I've been playing fighting games, Overwatch, a bunch of like competitive type of games. So if any of you guys out there want to come join me and watch and just talk about film or whatever, I would love for you guys to come on and chat. I want to hear more from you guys as well, and maybe you guys will get a little bit of tidbits of what's coming up. But yeah, definitely. My Twitch is at Batsy430, BATSY 430. It's also my Instagram as well, and then I also linked on Twitch the Instagram for the podcast and the Twitter and everything right there. So if you guys want to just jump on it, go on my Twitch, so you have all the socials ready to go. And yeah, that's pretty much just a little plug. If I want to hear from you guys, and so you guys can jump on with me. Yeah,
definitely follow Alan over on Twitch and Instagram, and if you guys want to also follow the podcast, we're Undercast Company, so you can follow us, Undercast Co. On Twitter, Undercast Company on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, or just if you guys have a suggestion for a movie you want to do, or just like anything you want to say to us, you can email us at undercastcompany@gmail.com.
Yeah, and like I said, and the socials for the podcast will be on my Twitch as well. They're already there, ready to go. So yeah, just go ahead and jump on there. And there was something I was going to say. There's not a set schedule yet. I'm still figuring it out. I'm not all fancy streaming. I'm not like PewDiePie or anything like that. Out of disrespect.
Thank God.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out my schedule. But if you ever want to know when I'm on, I'll post it on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, cool. Thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Take it
Thanks
easy.
for being amazing.